Good evening and thanks for joining us. Tonight we continue our coverage of the border crisis, an issue that's only served to further divide America. Those against it believe it can only be a detriment to our country, a drain on our resources, that it's not our problem. Those who are not opposed to it believe it's the right thing to do, to help these people as they make their way from the darkness into the light. Help that America has offered for generations. Can we suddenly stop helping people in need? And after being at the border last week, I can tell you firsthand, these are people in need. But can you take everyone, all comers, without a plan? Because that's the problem. There is no plan. It's the proverbial can that keeps getting kicked down the road. So as we begin tonight, I want to give you a look at what we encountered at a border crossing in Yuma. But Yuma is at capacity. I was standing at the border wall working on this story when suddenly a group of migrants passed around the edge of the wall. I'll be honest, it startled me.
Hello, hello. Hello. Hello.
I said hello as they hurriedly made their way to where they would catch a bus to a processing center. It was about 8 o'clock, less than an hour from when Title 42 would expire. We didn't expect large groups until later, but that evening started early as we saw small groups and then much larger groups come around the edge of the fence that ended where native tribal land begins. It's hard not to feel compassion for these people who've come so far on this journey. For these migrants, crossing into the U.S. was a relief after harrowing trips from around the world, entering an unknown yet promised better place to live.
You speak English?
Yes.
Anyone speak English?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our team hoping to understand them.
Where are you guys from?
Yeah, we're from Senegal.
From Senegal?
Yeah,
Yes. How they got here and where they wanted to go.
Where are you trying to go?
We're trying to go to America.
A journey that may or may not have been worth it.
How many days have you been traveling?
Yeah, around 10 days.
Around 10 days?
Yes.
Hola. Hola, hola.
The migrants we met along the border wall came from dozens of countries.
Desde Perú.
De Colombia.
De Ecuador.
Perú del Norte y ellos creo que son de la capital.
Many of them had been lied to by the smugglers and cartel members who gladly took their money and promised them a better life in America.
No, en el secuestro. Sí.
Our photojournalist, Roberto, spoke to a group that had been kidnapped.
Nos tenían encerrados en una casa.
Part of a massive extortion scheme Mexican authorities had broken up earlier that week, saving more than 100 people from multiple countries from this house, including Isaac from Uganda.
To know if they know the people who kidnap us, and we begin punching them one by one.
Traveling with his family, including his 6-year-old son, who said in Portuguese he saw his father had been beaten.
Eles começaram a bater no meu pai. Aí a polícia chegou atirando.
We met Isaac at a nonprofit in Somerton, where many migrants are eventually taken after they're processed by the Border Patrol. Here, workers and volunteers translate instructions in 10 or more different languages, helping people who are still processing the trauma of their journeys.
Dead how? Some of the bodies were decomposed. Some of them drowned. There were bodies of women laying in the jungle, raped. It was very shocking.
The health center organizes transportation for each of these people as they continue their journey into the U.S.
From here, Kansas City.
En New Jersey.
A Maryland.
They believe that they would be granted asylum, but it's no guarantee. The journey they now face could take years, and some will be denied. It's not the end of Title 42 that caused this alone. It's the lack of attention to a broken border and flawed immigration system that our elected leaders on both sides for years have failed to address and may still once again. Our cameras captured children and parents waiting for solutions to a border crisis, a humanitarian crisis that will have repercussions for years. And something very interesting has happened since Thursday at 8:59 p.m. Arizona time when Title 42 expired on Thursday. The number of border crossings, which were expected to explode, actually started to drop. They dropped to 6,200 on Friday and 4,400 on Saturday and are still dropping today. And to give you some context, last Tuesday and Wednesday, we were seeing 10,000 to 11,000 migrants per day crossing. But despite the declining numbers, many lawmakers argue those figures don't tell the whole story. and that the border crisis is getting worse, not better. Also, keep in mind that depending on your party and constituency, you can score big points or hurt yourself politically based on what your message is on the immigration crisis.
The lines are shorter because we take everybody out of the line and say, good luck, see you in 5 years. So they're not stopping or deterring illegal immigration. They're actually expediting. So you don't have long lines waiting. They're just literally waving everybody through.
The federal government should get all the border mayors in one room so we can all be on the same page. This is not a Democrat or Republican problem. This is an American problem.
He's right. A judge's ruling last week temporarily blocked the government's release of most migrants into the U.S. before their court date. If that ruling sticks, a top Border Patrol official says over 45,000 migrants may be in government holding facilities by the end of this month.